afternoon, everyone. Welcome in to the Fantasy Roundup. I'm your host, Spencer the Guru Urquhart. Another week, another interesting fantasy football week there. Gabe Henderson alongside me. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. You know, Spencer, on Thursday night, I thought I was doomed in some of my matchups playing Raheem Mostert, but I have a lot of shares in AJ Brown, a lot of shares in Christian McCaffrey. So I'm peachy on this Tuesday afternoon.
Right, yeah, CMC and A.J. Brown, I believe, were the top scorers at their positions. A.J. Brown, top scoring receiver. Christian McCaffrey, top scoring running back by a wide margin for CMC. He freaking
Mhm.
destroyed the Arizona Cardinals, and who didn't see that coming? And
Yeah.
anyone that had McCaffrey obviously started him. So, man, I wish I had him in more leagues. I had first pick in a decent amount of leagues, which I can't complain because I took Justin Jefferson, and he's balling out as well. But man, Christian McCaffrey, I wish I'd have had pick 2 in a few leagues too, because I wasn't able to get any McCaffrey because I was either got first overall in the middle or in the back. I never got like 2 or 3. So I have very few McCaffrey and Jamar Chase, which I'm kind of glad I don't have any Jamar Chase. The Bengals offense, man, what a disaster that's been, which we'll get to here in the headlines. We got some Bengals news in there. Speaking of Joe Burrow. But yeah, let's go over these here. Jonathan Taylor. Supposed to be back this week, but we're not sure. His status with the Colts remains unsettled, according to reports. He was activated off the PUP, but will he report? We don't know because he still wants a trade. His trade request is still out there to where the Colts might move on still if he doesn't report. So going to have to keep an eye on that. Don't drop Zach Moss yet. We actually have a segment today. We have waiver wire as well as a do not drop or a do drop segment, a droppable segment. Zach Moss not on my list for that because if JT doesn't get this settled, Zach Moss could still keep eating. So keep an eye on that Colts backfield situation. Mike Evans will undergo an MRI for his hamstring injury that he suffered against the Saints. Not expected to be a big absence. They're on bye this week, so I think Evans should be A-OK, but we'll have to obviously get the results of the MRI before we can confirm that. Joe Burrow will play this week. Zach Taylor announced that even though he's still banged up with the calf injury, that the Bengals plan to play Joe Burrow and basically tell him, you play through the pain as long as he himself can do it. Zach Taylor's not pinching his franchise quarterback. So it hadn't been pretty for fantasy or reality. So we'll see how long that keeps going. Hopefully Burrow can get healthy. And T. Higgins also banged up a broken rib, but he could play. They're saying he's questionable as of now for this week. So keep an eye on his status. And then Cooper Kupp. Everyone's forgetting about Cooper Kupp because of Puka Nakua's breakout. But Cooper Kupp could be back as soon as this week. He's expected to resume practicing. Wouldn't expect him to return to game action this week, but he'll be back, I'd say, within the next week or two. And I'm not saying that's going to kill Puka's value, but could hurt it a little bit because Cooper Kupp when healthy. We all know what he can do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just we'll wait around and see how healthy he actually is. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he could come back and get hurt again, and well, Puka's the guy. So yeah, definitely moving forward, I'd rather Puka over Cooper Kupp. I feel like he's done enough through 4 weeks to show that he's here to stay. He's not going anywhere. And I saw you drop the breaking news signing Bradley Roby, former Saint, signed with the Eagles, which kind of makes sense to me because the Eagles' pass defense has not been very good, so they need some cornerback help over there.
Yeah, they do need help. Former Saint, former Texan Bradley Roby. So relates to us on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Bradley Roby, a guy that probably not at his best anymore, but could probably still be a decent depth piece. And if you're a secondary that's, I wouldn't say in shambles, but struggling, struggling secondary like the Eagles secondary has been, then yeah, could definitely use a shot in the arm there. And Bradley Roby could be the guy to do so. And then this week, though, we've got bye weeks. Got some bye weeks here. The Browns, Chargers, Seahawks, and Buccaneers are on bye week. So bye week blues for some of y'all. I know a few of my teams have it pretty rough this week with all those bye weeks. So we're here, though, to get you guys through these bye week blues here. It's going to go all the way through week 14. So, Gabe, how do you usually approach the bye week situation? You usually just go with guys on your bench? Do you like to search the wire heavy? Like, how do you usually approach it?
I'm one of those people who, when drafting, I pay a lot of attention to bye weeks. So I'm usually pretty set there. But if not, I'll search on the wire. I usually have a guy on the bench. Sometimes you fall into having two starters with the same bye week at the same position. That's when I draft guys after that in the later rounds that have different buys. So that's how I approach it.
Yeah, that's a good approach, because you just gonna have some potential options there. It's kind of hard to plan ahead though for like those late buys. But yeah, if you have like a Justin Herbert, you could have probably gotten someone with a promising week 5 matchup, which I wish I'd have done in one of my leagues, but I'm in really good position in that league thanks to Justin Herbert, or the season's top scoring quarterback. So yeah, for those that have him, we'll have some waiver wire recommendations for those that have Herbert or Kenneth Walker. Not too many great running backs. I have Austin Eckler, but for those that have Eckler, I've already had a contingency plan in place. Walker, really the only other elite running back on bye. Quarterbacks other than Herbert, Geno, Baker, Deshaun Watson. Like Watson was already out last week, so I feel like a lot of those guys like Watson and Eckler, they were kind of rested. Like they knew they were going into bye. Even Mike Evans, they probably were like, oh, we got our bye this week. Let's not push these injuries here.
I was going to mention that, I was going to say before we moved on, this is really helpful to Mike Evans owners having this bye week here. I know obviously it's not ideal to have a bye week at any point, but when your player gets banged up, you'd rather them have a bye week right after.
Yeah, definitely. And everyone needs a bye week. This is the NFL. Your body takes a toll. So, yeah, everyone needs one. And if they ever do the 18-game schedule, which I think they will once this current CBA ends, then they'll have 2 bye weeks, which will be tricky for fantasy. But, if they're going to add yet another game to this already rigorous schedule, you're going to have more breaks in between. So, that's a topic for another day. So yeah, it's just keep an eye on these guys. Amari Cooper, Ken Walker, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, another guy that's startable in most leagues. And my DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. How many tight ends? David Njoku probably the only one, but even he's not a lock to be a starting tight end. Keenan Allen, that's a big one. Probably should have listed him on there. He's a must start every week. That's on bye this week. So yeah, just keep an eye on that, y'all. And let's go over our listener league here before we get to our waiver wire segment. And because lately we've been kind of pushing that off, but I know y'all need waiver wire help, so we'll for sure get to that as well as y'all's questions. Comment y'all's questions. And I see Randy's got our first one of the day. Let's knock it out before we get to our listener league. Trade T-Law and AJ Brown for Lamar and Devontae. Devontae Adams, I guess he spelled it like that's like the way Devontae Freeman would spell his name, but he's not in the league anymore.
No, I wouldn't make that trade.
1 QB, 12-team PPR, 4-point passing, 1-3. Okay, yes, and don't panic. Oh, Devontae. Oh, yes, Devontae Smith. Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, Devontae Smith. I don't know why I didn't think of how. Yeah, he spells it like that. Yeah, I was going to say Devonta Freeman. Man, I'm stuck back in 2018 with that. Sheesh. Team after trade: Lamar, Etienne, Brees, Amon-Ra, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Zay Flowers. Okay, so yeah, you're downgrading receivers, but you're upgrading at quarterback. Lamar is definitely an upgrade over T-Law. I still like T-Law, but T-Law's been kind of mid this year, where Lamar is showing that he's still an elite fantasy QB, but it's only 4-point passing TDs, so even the elite QBs aren't scoring as much, so assuming it's full PPR, yeah.
I would focus on upgrading running backs over quarterback.
Yeah, so yeah, RB2. Brees isn't that great at RB2s, and then Etienne's solid, but I would say this: I would ask for like a third piece, maybe just like a bench running back. Everyone can use running back depth. If the other team has like a decent bench running back, like like a Kenny Gainwell or something, just maybe you're an Eagles fantasy, you got a lot of Eagles. I don't know if you already have Gainwell, but he's just a decent depth piece to have. Just get him to throw something else in there, considering how good AJ Brown's been. He's the clear alpha still there in Philly.
Yeah, I would say if you're gonna trade away AJ Brown, you're gonna want to sell really high. So I would ask for more than what you're currently getting.
Yep, and there you go. Perfect, bro. Roschon Johnson. Perfect. Yeah, he's a guy that, Khalil Herbert had the big week 4, but I feel like Roschon is someone that moving forward could still end up the starter over there in Chicago. So yeah, that'd be a good buy low. Yeah, Roschon. Yeah, if he would throw in Roschon, as hard it is to part with AJ Brown, I'd probably do that.
I would too, because you're upgrading at quarterback, especially in 4-point passing touchdown leagues, running quarterbacks are a luxury. So you're upgrading there, downgrading a little at receiver, but you are getting a solid piece back at running back, which, based on your starting team, is probably your weakest position.
Yeah,
I
for
like that.
sure. For sure. Who would you play out of Thomas, Addison, or Tank? Also have Atwell. That's interesting. I mean, it's kind of early in the week to be doing start sits, but I mean, I guess Addison because the Chiefs. I mean, that's going to be a shootout probably. I mean, I know I'm sure you like Tank, Gabe, but I mean, Nico Collins looks like the alpha over there in Houston.
Yeah, they're playing Atlanta this week, so it's a tough matchup for Nico Collins. We'll CJ Stroud will be looking at his other guys. So I like Tank. I also like Atwell depending on Cup status against the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles' pass defense has been bad, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I know Addison had a goose egg last week, but I think he bounces back this week. I think the Chiefs have a solid defense, but they still don't have any elite defense. So I think Kirk Cousins, they'll be playing from behind Vikings. They can sling it, especially from behind. Kirk Cousins didn't have a good week this week because they were ahead, but I think they'll be back to being behind this week, so he'll probably do well. And then Mike Thomas, I just don't want anything to do with the Saints right now. I mean, the Saints offense looked completely broken on Sunday, just terrible. And seems like they're intent on starting Derek Carr even with his banged up shoulder. So, yeah, I'm not messing with that. But I like it, Duffy 28-3. I think the Duffy's tuned in with us before. I remember that little avatar there before, but he's got a trade question for us. Flowers and DJ Moore for Pittman. No, keep Flowers and DJ Moore. I mean, you can make a case. I mean, the way DJ Moore is looking, I mean, he's right there with Pittman, and Zay Flowers a solid flex. So yeah, no, don't do that. Pittman came back to earth this week, and with Anthony Richardson, Anthony Richardson's not a dynamic passer. He's a good fantasy quarterback because he runs a lot, but as far as a passer, he's looked a little better than I expected, but still not enough to make me think that Pittman's a big upgrade here.
Yeah, I also think Josh Downs is going to start having a bigger role in that offense. So I honestly think by year's end, the two guys you'd potentially be giving up could be better than Pittman. So I wouldn't touch that deal.
Agreed. That's a hard no. I wouldn't even counter that. I'd probably just hit the decline and move on, unless they have some other bench pieces that you like from their roster. But other than that, let's see. Oh, he's got another one for us. Henry and Flowers for Lamb. Henry is my RB2. Lamb would be in my flex.
I would.
Henry and Flowers.
Well, depending on what other running backs you have in your team, I like that. I think you should sell high on Henry. I don't like.
Yeah, I would ask for a second piece back though to go along with Lamb, because we know how thin the running back position is, and the bottom line is Henry, even though he's not quite as good, he's still a solid RB2. So yeah, I would do that if they're willing to throw in, like we were saying with Randy, like a Roschon Johnson, someone in that tier, just somebody, not like some great running backs, but and you see exactly, Duffy. If you have zero bench RBs, I wouldn't do that. Unless they're willing to give you another running back with CD, because you got to have running back depth, man. If you don't have running back depth, that's going to come back to bite you. And I mean, Pollard's solid, but what if he gets hurt? Then you're really screwed at that point.
Yeah, and I'm not someone who likes to traditionally stack players on teams in my starting lineup. I'm not a fan of having Pollard and Lamb in the same lineup every week, because if the Cowboys offense has a bad week, it's guaranteed almost that you're not going to get any production from two of your players. So it's a personal thing. I know some people, even you, Spencer, might feel differently, but that's how I approach fantasy.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. Don't want too many eggs in one basket there, as far as I try to diversify my investments, even for these elite offenses like the Chiefs, the Bills. It's like you don't want too many players from one team.
Yep.
And I got another question was about Zach Wilson. What do you think of Zach Wilson's performance Sunday night? And do you think Garrett Wilson is back if Zach keeps this production up? Yeah, I think Zach Wilson showed something for sure. I think Aaron Rodgers being there helped, even though he obviously can't play. Just his presence there is I think kind of motivated Zach a little bit, and he's had to take it on the chin. I mean, the New York fans and media are ruthless. So I think he's starting to get a little tougher there. And yeah, I like Garrett Wilson moving forward. I think he's still a solid WR2, super talented. And Chiefs defense not that great, but also not bad. I mean, they're at least a mid-pack defense, and it was in prime time. So I think Zach Wilson showed that. I mean, he's never going to be a great quarterback, but I think he showed that he can be serviceable. So yeah, that performance definitely gives me a little more hope moving forward. But let's be real, he's never going to be Aaron Rodgers.
No, a few people are, but you know what? To Zach Wilson's credit, I am intrigued to see how he does going forward because he played well the other night. That's something we haven't seen from Zach Wilson really at all in his career so far. So
yeah, even though they lost, that may have been the best game of his career, and on the brightest of stages. I mean, with all the hype around it and all the Taylor Swift stuff, it was just everyone was watching that game, and he delivered. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes.
He did.
Patrick Mahomes stunk. I mean, Jets defense is good, but damn, Mahomes, he was throwing a bunch of bad picks.
Yeah.
And would Henry for Swift be a stretch? I mean, probably considering how good DeAndre Swift's been, but you could try for it. I mean, you never know how people value players. But yeah, if I had to guess, the Swift, they probably wouldn't give Swift along with Lamb. I mean, Swift's legit, man. Swift's looking like he could finish as an RB1 this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's always had the talent just staying on the field, but he's lethal behind that Eagles offensive line.
Yeah, they can run the football in Philly, that O-line. It's just a matter of opportunity, and he's gotten the opportunity as of late. So, yeah, good deal there. But we got to move on here to Listener League. Shout out to all our listeners. And, well, I'm just going to say, sorry, Dad, I had to do it to you. Whew, that was a butt whooping. I told my team to stop scoring there, but they didn't listen to me. So, yeah, that was a crazy week there. I didn't expect to do that well. But shout out to Bucktown Rebel Jr. Cameron with his 151 points there. That would have made me nervous if me and him would have been playing. I still would have won, but by less than a point. So, for Cameron's sake, glad he wasn't facing me. But he defeats William there, who was also undefeated. William's still in good shape, though, at 3-1. So he got a lot of great matchups this week, including yours, Gabe. You took down the defending champ there, Bucktown Rebel, also by less than a point. Man, what is going on here? We're having some really tight matches, and y'all happen to be facing each other. But Gabe gets it done, 3-1 now, one of only 3 teams to be 3-1. So yeah, this league is really getting tight there. Hank Trill got back to 500, defeated UBN. Joseph got back to 3-1. He had suffered his first loss, defeated Troy there, drops to 2-2. And then Salmon in the win column, he's improved to 1-3, defeated Mike, who drops to 2-2. So yeah, that was quite the week, Gabe. I tell you what, this listener league is really looking fun because last year was I feel like it was 4 or 5 teams kind of pulled away early. Where this year, I think this year it's going to come down to the very end to see who gets in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm excited. Especially last night, I was sweating out. Shout out to Bucktown Rebel for that exciting matchup. That was a lot of fun. I don't know if you saw after the run where Kenneth Walker on his last carry lost a few yards. There were a lot of people saying that they lost close fantasy games. I had to start putting it out. I gotta shout out the Seahawks and Pete Carroll for not kicking that field goal there at the end, just going for it on 4th down with Drew Lock. Ooh, that would have really, really made me upset, but we won. So hold it out.
Yeah, a win's a win. A win's a win, yep. And then what's the move with Higgins? Is he a trade target? I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about T. Higgins. He's kind of injury prone, and with Burrow's situation, I probably wouldn't mess with him, man. Outside of Chase, no one in since he's been reliable. I'm good on T. Higgins, bro. So, yeah, I mean, maybe if you get him super cheap, I mean, he's still like a low-end WR2, I feel like, but I don't think he's going to put up the kind of numbers that we expected him to.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
T-Money, what's up, man? Should I trade Puka and Laporta for Tyreek Hill? I think I would, man. I mean, as good as Puka's been, I mean, Cooper Kupp could be back soon, and Laporta, and it's I see he's got an 8-team league, so it's like, I mean, I'm sure you could easily replace Laporta, being that, I mean, 8-man, there's probably a lot of just like okay tight ends that you could get, which we'll get to in our waiver wire
Laporta's on his
segment.
bench. I absolutely would do that. And you've got Kupp.
Oh, he's got Hawk. Oh yeah, easy.
Yeah.
That's easy, bro. That's the luxury of being in an 8-man league. If you have depth, sometimes you can get a really good trade there. So yeah, that's one where reap the benefits of your depth and go ahead and get that thing done.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You've got a really good team there, even for an 8-man league. That's a stacked team.
I'd be surprised if you could get someone to agree to that. But if they agreed to that, adding Tyreek Hill to that team would make you a league winner.
Facts. And what about Christian Watson? Now, that's one I could get behind more. I think Christian Watson's a really good buy low right now because Jordan Love is looking the part. And I know you like Jaden Reed, Gabe. We'll get to him in waiver wire. But him and Romeo Dobbs are more like intermediate guys. The same with Luke Musgrave. Watson's really still the only deep threat they have. And then when he gets going, that could really get that offense rolling. Where I think Christian Watson's only got brighter days ahead as long as he can stay healthy. His production might be a bit sporadic, but I mean, it's at this point, I don't think anyone's going to expect you to give up that much for him. So if you can get him cheap, I'd definitely do it.
Yeah, don't get it twisted, Spencer. I like Jaden Reed as a waiver wire pickup, but Christian Watson is still the guy I probably like most in that receiving core.
For sure. So yeah, let's get to our waiver wire pickups. I'll let you kick it off, Gabe, since I kind of dropped a hint on who one of yours was. So I see a QB, even though he's on bye, you're still back in Baker Mayfield. He had a really good week 4, 12.7% rostered, and you're going to have to sell me on this one, though, man. I know he did good in week 4, but I'm still skeptical about Baker.
Yeah, I mean, as well as I do, Spencer, when you're looking at these with our qualifications for waiver wire ads, under 30% owned in ESPN League. I mean, it's tough to find quarterbacks that you haven't in the last few weeks. I think Baker Mayfield played quite well against a good defense. Even though he's on bye, he's got a good connection, got a great set of weapons there. I think if you need an emergency quarterback, Baker Mayfield is a guy who, could put up numbers for you from week to week, potentially. He turns the ball over, but, what I've seen from Baker Mayfield this season, maybe the Buccaneers aren't a total fluke. Maybe they're actually a decent team. Time will tell. But I think, if you're looking at other guys that are available, I know you have your quarterback who you're going to mention here in a little bit, Jimmy Garoppolo. So when you're looking at guys like that, I think Baker Mayfield might have the best set of weapons around him. So he might be my choice.
For sure, man. That's one thing, and I'm glad you brought it up, was the weapons. That's the only reason I could get behind Baker. Him as a talent, he's not good. Yeah. I mean, Baker is not a talented quarterback, but if he's got the support around him, like that year in Cleveland where he won a playoff game, he was serviceable. So if he has support, he can do okay. If he doesn't have support, don't expect him to make it happen, but if he's got support, he can be all right. So with his weapons there, I could see him maybe in a juicy matchup being worth a play there.
Yeah, for sure.
So you got Chuba Hubbard at running back, and yeah, that's one I can see because Miles Sanders trending down, always seems to be banged up. Chuba got more work this week, so guessing you expect to see more of him on the field moving forward.
Yeah, I think he got 17 carries last week. I think the Panthers are very quickly learning that with a rookie quarterback, they're going to have to run the ball a lot. And, Miles Sanders, as you mentioned, he's kind of banged up sometimes, and they're giving Chuba Hubbard a lot of work. He's in that Roschon Johnson category for me. He's a guy that, on not a very good team, but when they need to move the ball, if they're not losing by a lot of points, he's a guy that's going to get a lot of touches. So I like Chuba Hubbard, especially given the fact that he's only owned in 17% of leagues. That was kind of surprising.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, because he's someone that in that run-heavy offense, which I'm sure it'll stay run-heavy with Bryce Young not looking very good as a passer. Even if Miles Sanders starts, Chuba could still have enough to go around there could still be enough for him to eat in the right matchup. So Jaden Reed, though, 22.2%. He's been solid as a rookie. Christian Watson's back, though. Guessing, though, you still think he's a good play moving forward.
Yeah, I do. I think he's developed a nice little connection with Jordan Love. And I think, as you alluded to earlier, the Packers offense is really starting to pick it up, and they look legit. So, I like Jaden Reed. I think he's still going to get a fair share of targets. I think out of everyone with Christian Watson coming back, it might be Romeo Doubs, whose stock takes a bit of a hit, as we saw last year. So, no, I think Jaden Reed, good little addition at the receiver position.
Right, yeah, I think he was actually a higher draft pick than Romeo Doubs. So, Romeo Doubs might be a good sell high candidate. I still think he could have some weeks, but yeah, moving forward, not sure if he's going to stay the number one over there. And then before we get to your question there, Duffy, let's let Gabe get his last waiver ad in there. Jake Ferguson, who just continues to see a lot of targets in Dallas.
Yeah, he's gotten, I think, at least 5 targets every week there in Dallas. We know, people had questions about how Dallas would handle the tight end position with Kellen Moore moving on as OC and Dalton Schultz being allowed to leave in free agency. But Jake Ferguson stepped up. Dak likes his tight ends. And we've seen that in the last few weeks. He's a consistent play. And you know how I love my consistent plays at the tight end position, Spencer.
Yeah, there's very few of them. So if he can establish himself as that, like the year Dalton Schultz was a top 5 tight end. I'm not saying Ferguson's going to be top 5, but he's showing that he's got tight end 1 potential. So I think he's worth an ad as well. Duffy saying here, DJ Moore for Marquise Brown and Nico Collins. Yeah, I'd do that.
I would do that too, but you'd be tough to find someone who would agree to that.
Yeah, well, maybe this is maybe he's got this pending. I don't know. If so, then go ahead, accept, bro. If not, you got to be a good salesman because, I don't think most people would accept that. But yeah, no, because DJ Moore, I know he's been really good lately, but he's a good sell high candidate because I don't trust Justin Fields to stay consistent as a passer. He took advantage of a really bad Broncos defense. And in Hollywood, could be getting Kyler back in the second half. Even without Kyler, he's doing pretty good with Dobbs. And then Nico Collins has shown that he's legit. So, yeah, that's an easy accept.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Is Amber? Yeah, man. Hollywood Brown, bro. I'm assuming that's who you say. M. Brown, Marquise Hollywood Brown. He's very legit. He's showing he can. He's producing with Josh freaking Dobbs. Come on. If that's not showing you're legit, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
So he's had problems staying healthy though. That's been the issue with Brown. But if he's healthy, he's really good.
Yes, he is.
All right, my pickups here got Sam Howell at QB. Feel pretty good about it this week going against the Bears, who suck on defense. Freaking, they lost it. Russ did his thing. Russ cooked against them. Pretty much every QB they faced this year is cooked. So I expect Sam Howell to do the same on a Thursday night. I know Thursday nighters can be tricky being on short rest, but I'm not concerned about that. I think with the weapons he's got there, Terry McLaurin's gotten better each week. Brian Robinson's solid there in the backfield. Logan Thomas back healthy. Jahan Dotson's a little banged up, though. I have to keep an eye on him. Curtis Samuel, but I still think they'll have enough for Howell to do well. And he can run a little bit here and there, so I think he's for those that need a QB this week. I know Gabe had suggested Baker Mayfield, but he's on bye. So for those that need a quick fix for week 5, roll the dice on Thursday night with Howell.
Sam Howell, he ran that offense with efficiency and ran it pretty well the other day. As someone who watched a good chunk of that game, he did well.
Yeah, against Philly, man. Philly was they're still a solid defense. Not as good as last year, but still, I'd say a top 10 defense. So, yeah, that was an impressive performance. What up, Hank? Yeah, thanks for tuning in, bro, and congrats to you for getting back to 500 in the Listener League. So, yeah, shout out to his team Latino Heat in there. He is trying to make a trade with me. I maybe should have taken it, bro. It was a fair offer, but I didn't want to give up Zay. I feel like Zay Flowers has brighter days ahead. He had offered me Thielen for Zay Flowers. Very fair offer, but just not enough for me to accept. If Fields had a fluke week, should I pick up Love or Stroud? Oh, definitely. If both of them are still available, our criteria is strict. We're less than 30% rostered, where Love and Stroud have been picked up. We've recommended them in past weeks, though. I've had Love and Stroud on my list already. So yeah, go ahead and get those guys. I'd say Love first, then Stroud, but I mean, claim them both, bro. Claim them both. So yeah, not much at the running back position. The bone pretty much picked clean, but dove deep there and found Jaleel McLaughlin, 0.7% rostered, and Javonte Williams got knocked out of the game early last week, and Jaleel actually did pretty well. I mean, he had double-digit fantasy points, had a receiving touchdown, very efficient on the ground. So Sean Payton's offense hadn't been too hot, but seemed like this dude is a rookie there. I think a undrafted free agent, maybe one of those hidden gems that Sean Payton found. And so, yeah, he's someone that if you really need a running back this week, he's probably a pretty good play because even if Javonte comes back, we know Sean Payton loves committee backfields and riding the hot hand. And if this McLaughlin kid's the hot hand, he's going to ride it. So I'd probably just keep him on the bench for now. But if you're in bye week hell, I've like Ken Walker and Austin Eckler, then you could do worse.
Yeah, for sure. Jaleel McLaughlin has really terrorized me this year as in one of my leagues, I have the handcuff of P. Ryan and Javonte. And, when this guy vultures touchdowns, it angers me to no end. But I think I out of all of your selections here, Spencer, I really like Jaleel McLaughlin on here. I really do. I think this is a savvy pickup.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically available in every league. So, yeah, go get him before the masses catch on there. And they got Jameson Williams at receiver. He's back, y'all. His suspension got cut short with the new gambling policy, which I was glad to see because it's not like he was betting on games or like games that he was in or anything. I mean, I think he was betting on some random sport, but he was stupid and did it in their locker room or facility. And you just gotta do that at home. So yeah, he's lesson learned though, served his time, and he's gonna be back on the field this week. And this is a long-term play though, y'all. This is one that the Jaden Reed pickup from Gabe would probably be more of a quick fix, but this is Jameson pickup, not really a quick fix, but a good long-term play because I'm thinking he's someone that gets better each week. Dan Campbell said he's not expecting him to be a star right away, just wants him to be a quality receiver. But I think once he gets comfortable there, he will end up a star because of his elite speed. So I'm thinking that eventually he'll really get rolling there. So only 16.3% rostered. And Hank mad that said he's already gone in our listener league.
Yep.
Gabe has him stashed. So yeah, not available in every league. If you're in a super sharp league like ours, he might not be there, but most leagues he's there. So go get him.
Yep, he was one of my last draft picks. Had to pick him up. I'm super excited about that. Sitting at 3-1 with Jameson Williams coming back in a good spot.
Yep, sky's the limit for that kid. He's got to stay healthy though, because it was the suspension this year, but last year was the health. I mean, he came back and he had that one pretty good game, but then he just could never get healthy. But hopefully this is the year he does so. Then I got Tyler Conklin at tight end. He had left some points on the table there Sunday night. He could have had a really big game, but struggled to haul it in there. It probably would have been a touchdown. So he's someone that Zach Wilson likes. So I think you had him on our list a couple weeks ago, Gabe. And
Yep.
I'm starting to buy in because the Jets offense showing some life. He's the main receiving threat at the tight end position. And he's a good pick for this week because the Jets get the Broncos, who are just awful on defense, especially against tight ends. Cole Kmet. Everyone had written off Cole Kmet. People were dropping him. I picked him up in one of my money leagues. Had 2 touchdowns, I believe, against Denver. Denver sucks, y'all. Play your Jets this week. G-Dub, maybe even Lazard. Lazard's another name that's, I think, rostered in less than 30% of leagues. We need a quick fix receiver. Alden Lazard could be a flex play. And then Tyler Conklin, y'all, go get him because this dude is someone that Zach Wilson trusts, and they have a great matchup this week.
Yep, for sure. It's something about that Wilson-Conklin connection.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry too much about us, Hank, because, I mean, we are not eligible for the prize. So if we finish 1-2, if you can finish third, then you win those tickets.
Yep. We're just playing for pride.
Pretty much, yeah. We just don't want to finish at the bottom, but we would like to win as well because we do take a lot of pride in this fantasy football stuff. So, wow, we're gonna have to make this last segment quick here because with those questions y'all put in, which really appreciate y'all, by the way. Thank y'all for tuning in each and every week and peppering us with questions. Makes the show a lot more fun. But we got a quick segment here. One more quick segment before we go. Droppable players. Who is droppable at this point? We're 4 weeks in, about a quarter of the way through the season. So now it's time to evaluate your roster and be like, all right, who's droppable? Who are some guys that, yeah, I may have liked them on draft night, but time to admit that you got to go. And the first name that came to mind for me with this, part of why I did this segment, had him on the thumbnail, because it's just so glaringly obvious to me that he has got to go. Kyle Pitts, man. Get off my team, bro. You suck. You're terrible, bro. Kyle Pitts, what a bust. 4th overall pick of the NFL draft. Elite talent. He's going to be like Megatron at the tight end position. Man, what a bunch of crap. This guy is a mediocre tight end at best. And that's probably putting it nice, because I mean, I don't even think he's a great blocker. So for real life, Atlanta's really looking stupid for taking him 4th overall, unless he turns a corner, which he's got the talent to do so, but he doesn't utilize it. And I'm starting to wonder if he even has all this talent, like they're saying. I'm starting to think he just seems he's too big to be a receiver, and he's too like finessey to be a tight end. And I mean, he's just an awkward fit, and just as someone I want no part of moving forward. I am off the Kyle Pitts train completely.
I'm off the Kyle Pitts train completely in fantasy, and I don't think it has anything to do with him. He gets open all the time, Spencer. I mean, he's to the point where he's so miserable. He's celebrating when he gets open because he's not getting the ball. I don't know what it is. Arthur Smith needs to be fired. They need to make a change at quarterback, because honestly, Taylor Heineke could do better than Desmond Ridder. And that's, I'm a Desmond Ridder defender, but Arthur Smith is the main issue there. They cannot throw the ball. Drake London is someone I have stocking that I don't want in anymore. I don't want anything in Kyle Pitts, and they're both extremely talented. Atlanta just cannot throw the ball. They're the most one-dimensional football team that I have perhaps ever seen.
Yeah, so maybe I was a little harsh on Pitts there, because he did bring up a good point about the system's trash. So
it's terrible. I mean, it's really hard to watch. I can't even put it into words. Can't even comprehend how bad it is.
Yeah, our sports betting director Thomas was saying it reminded him of his son's youth football offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. That's not pretty over there. So anyway, so even if Pitts is better than I'm giving him credit for, he's still not going to be worth a damn in fantasy. So drop him. It's over.
I'll try and trade him a big name, but
no one's going to take him. Let's be real here. No one's that stupid. Dalvin Cook, though, is a big name that I thought would at least get off to a good start. But Brees is now back healthy and looking like the main guy there. So it's time to move on from Dalvin Cook. The Jets are not a running team. I mean, they were gearing up for Aaron Rodgers this year, and it's just it didn't pan out. He got hurt, and so Dalvin, it's just not a good fit over there. It's time to move on. I mean, that Brees, if they're going to get any sort of running game going, it's going to be with Brees. So Dalvin, he had his chance early, didn't take advantage of it. So adios.
I told you at the time, Spencer, that move did not make sense for me. I genuinely do not understand why Dalvin Cook went there.
Yeah, bad fit from the start. So now we see why I didn't go to the Dolphins, because they had Devon Achane, so they definitely weren't worried about bringing in Dalvin Cook. But
sure.
See, you're moving on from Sky Moore, man. That was one of my guys this offseason, but I guess it's time to cut bait.
I don't have any stock in Sky Moore personally. I don't want any stock in Sky Moore. The Chiefs receiving core outside of Travis Kelce, I'm not touching any of it. I just, Rashee Rice maybe, but anyone else, it's way too unpredictable. It's like trying to play this is like trying to play the Saints receiving core in the second half of Drew Brees' career. When he would just throw a touchdown to a random player every other week. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the Chiefs are. I mean,
you never know.
You never know who's going to do well. So I'm completely moving on from Sky Moore. It stinks for anyone who drafted him high, but he's not good. It's just not good.
Right. Yeah. Quentin Johnston, though, that name kind of surprised me that you put him on there, considering that I know he's on bye this week, but I think he's got some brighter days ahead. But I guess you don't think so.
Well, you know what, Spencer? The best part about rock bottom is the fact that the only way to go from there is up, and that's where Quentin Johnston finds himself. I think if I recall correctly, he had 2 catches or 2 targets the other day. He's just I thought he would get involved earlier on, especially with Mike Williams out, and he's just not. I don't understand why they drafted him so high, considering they've not utilized him at all. And I'm not going to sit here and wait, especially with him on bye this week. I'm not going to sit around and wait for him to produce. He's not worth it. He's not shown up to this point that he's worth it. He could be later on in the season, but I would play the waivers, and there's definitely people more valuable than him out there.
Yeah, that's a fair point. In shallower leagues, I'd definitely release him. But to me, in 12-team leagues or more, I'd probably keep him stashed because I think eventually he gets it going. But yeah, if you're in a shallower league, you got to move on from these guys. Because yeah, you just can't have all that dead weight on your bench. I mean, you gotta have good depth. Gotta have guys that are scoring points.
Yep, for sure. Which he's not doing at the moment.
So yeah, gotta move on. But that's gonna do it for this one, y'all. Good episode of Fantasy Roundup here on bet.NOLA.com. Make sure to like and subscribe. It does us a lot of favor. So please subscribe to the Bayou Bets YouTube channel. Also, go sign up with Caesar Sportsbook if you haven't already. We've got a special offer there for those looking to play some bets. We've got MLB postseason action going down. We've got NBA tipping off in a few weeks. So a lot going on. And, of course, our NFL and college games every weekend. So do that, y'all. But, yeah, we're going to wrap this one up. Any final thoughts, Gabe?
No, just like everyone else, not really looking forward to the Thursday night game. I think the Broncos...
the Bears Commanders.
Yeah, no, I know, but I was going to say I think the Broncos showed everyone that the Bears are the worst team in the league.
Oh, yeah.
It's not close, and the Commanders are far from a great team, so it's going to be, just like last season, another one of those ugly Thursday night games.
Could be nice for fantasy, though. I mean, because Bears defense sucks, so just if you have Howell, Brian Robinson, Terry McLaurin, or if you have Fields, DJ Moore, just enjoy it for fantasy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm going to enjoy it because it's football on a Thursday, but it's not going to be an enjoyable game.
Yeah, no. The only reason I'd be watching it would be for fantasy. Now, I'm not going to say a word about Bears and Commanders. Those are 2 of the worst teams to watch. I don't know why they put that in prime time, but what can we do? That's what we get. So the only final thought I have is Saints-Patriots, y'all stay away from that matchup for fantasy. For all you do, maybe play Olave still because I know he stunk last week, but first 3 weeks he was so good. I'd probably still start him and maybe Kamara, but anyone else in that matchup, sit them. That's going to be another ugly game. Saints unders have hit now, I believe, 10 weeks in a row, and I don't see that changing this week. Patriots offense just as ugly as the Saints, so stay away from that. Dennis Allen and Bill Belichick, those guys don't care about scoring points. All they care about is, I don't know what they care about. I don't like defensive coaches. I'll be real. I like offense. I like Kyle Shanahan. I like Mike McDaniel. I like Sean McVay. I like innovative offensive minds. I hope the Saints' next head coach is someone like that. I'm so tired of this blah, 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 blah. It's like this defensive, it's sick. But that's just my take.
Shout out CJ Stroud.
Anyway, that's going to do it here. That's what I'm saying. I mean, at least y'all got the Miko Ryans, but at least the offense is looking good.
Yes, sir. Bobby Slowick.
If the defensive coach hires, if they hire the right OC, then it's fine. So, and not to talk down on all defensive coaches. I mean, some defensive coaches know what they're doing, but others, I feel like they're very stubborn. It's all like Bill Belichick, very stubborn. Dennis Allen, very stubborn. So, I mean, hell, Sean Payton, he's an offensive coach, but again, very stubborn. These stubborn coaches, man, they kill me. But, oh, well. Well, that's going to do it. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll be back next week at the same time, same channels, 4 o'clock, Fantasy Roundup. Good luck to y'all this week in week 5. See y'all later.